saying technical difficulties fixing on it, so hopefully that means that
Oh, okay. You
yeah,
mean the Twitch chat?
he's in the Twitch chat. So if he's
Got
in
it.
there, oh, look at that. We got sound
Are we
coming
back?
through. I think we got sound coming through. Wow.
All right.
We were about to have an ASL like tournament here, just figure out who could figure out the fastest. But I think we're back. My
All right.
sound just came through my phone. Look at that.
We're back. Goldboys Live, Picket Sports, Boom Fantasy. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We were just talking about Paul George injury. Is there any bet to make from it, Matt? You don't seem to think so. Brian, do you have anything?
Honestly, the only thing we mentioned yesterday is we did talk about on the show. The Kings are 25-1 to make it out of the West to win the Western Conference. I think it was. I'm not saying it's a great bet right now, but I mean you're getting better odds than some teams that aren't even in the playoffs yet. And if you kind of liked it a little bit yesterday when Paul George is healthy, I think if you still like the Kings, it only gains value now that the Clippers are a little shorthanded.
Yep, totally with you. I guess we can move on to the games here, and I'd be looking to bet once these numbers come up. I'm curious what the what the number is on the Thunder to make the play in. They were plus 125 to make it yesterday. Now they're plus 160 just to make the playoffs. So you can make the playoffs and not have to make the play in. It'd be interesting, man. That'd be a tough beat if they make the playoffs and don't even have to get in the play in for me, because that's the team we talked about all year, 4-1, 5-1. There were some crazy numbers out there. And, will they tank? It looked like they might with SGA sitting out a few games after the All-Star break, but I don't think they're going to. I think might as well just go for it now. And that's the last one I guess we'll get to before we get to the games. SGA is now 3-1 most improved player. If they're in the playoffs, is that worth a shot?
I know one of my friends used his glitch $250 bet on DraftKings on that exact bet. And I think there's a case. If they make the playoffs, I mean he's playing well. I mean, even yesterday he had you looked at this box score at half. What do you have, like 6 points, 7 points? And then all of a sudden he drops 25 in the second half and they come back to win a big game. So I think there's a lot to be said in most improved. If your team has success, it goes a long way. So he has a good chance there.
And it was 5-1 yesterday. Now it's 3-1. So maybe they're thinking along with us. Matt, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what he's done other than miss, a half dozen games or so to drop this far off. I think it's definitely worth a play. I don't think Markkanen should be a $4 favorite either.
Totally agree.
I mean, Markkanen's, if you just look at the numbers, he's had a more significant jump, and he's moved into all-star territory where, again, we look at last year, like, Ja winning was already at that level and just improved, made 10 or 20%. Markkanen's had like almost a 75% improvement over his.
It's a great point. It's really the main reason for the bet. If you look at the history of the award, it's not really, they don't really give it to the most improved player. They give it to like a player who's good, goes from good to really good. They just give it to more of a big name player who slightly improves than anything. So again, you're running out of value a little bit, but plus 300 is still a good number.
Yeah. And I know it's crazy, but like I will still not discount the Jalen Brunson in New York narrative. If he's
been great,
strong, and the Knicks win, and push up here, and somehow I don't think they can catch the Cavs. But if he continues to roll here, and
30 and a 40-point game somewhere in the next 2 weeks, it's not impossible.
And at 14-1, I think it's worth just grabbing and stashing. And you might not win, you might forget about it, but like he's like that same Ja kind of territory. Plus, you got the New York market.
Yep.
And they're definitely in. We don't have to worry about the
right.
Thunder if they do, if they don't. I don't know.
Yeah, I do think it's one of those things where I mean, I wanted to bring up before the game, someone did just subscribe to Tier 1, and they mentioned if we do any bets 365 specific stuff. Are you guys in a bet 365 state? I am not. No. It's just Jersey right now, right? There's like what 2 or 3 states I think they do.
I'm bordering. I think they're up to 4. They got Colorado, Jersey, Ohio, and gosh, I don't know I think Virginia.
Yeah, it's a book I wish I had, but I don't have it in PA. Yeah, so I just wanted to bring that up. I wasn't sure where you guys were.
I keep telling myself I got to get in the car and drive east and stop across the border, get my 365 account going here.
Absolutely.
In Ohio, it's worth it.
All right, Nuggets are laying 7 to the Wizards. We get to the games here. Oh boy, it's dangerous territory as we get to these last 10 games in the NBA. Who's playing? Who's sitting? Who's motivated? I've been sort of conservative making these bets. I had one bet on OKC last night, which I was able to win, and they won straight up. But I've been careful here playing these. Curious your guys' approach as we start here. Nuggets, Wizards, Nuggets laying 7. Brian, anything for you in this game?
I don't have anything in this game. The only thing I'll look for is I did play yesterday. I talked about on the show, Monty Morris's usage without Kyle Kuzma. He cashed that bet I talked about yesterday on the show in the first half. So if I get a good line, I haven't seen lines, at least when I was checking last. But if they give me a good line on Morris, 10.5 points. Yeah, Monty Morris is the only look I would have just because I do like him a lot. And it is funny to think that the Wizards are getting a touchdown against the Nuggets. But at this point, with the way the Nuggets are kind of teetering, I'm not even surprised about that number, but I probably would avoid it because if the Nuggets did come out and play like they should, I feel like it's a little light on only 3 possessions there. But I do like the Monty Morris look if I get a good PRA line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. It's no secret now. Nuggets get cooked by the point guard. So with Kuzma out, and even I guess the only pause is the Wiz are on a back to back, and the Nuggets are rested. But I mean, yeah, I think with a 10.5 point prop, that's low enough. He should be able to go get you that. I would think. Yeah, looking at it, I mean, it's juiced a little bit, minus 120, but that's probably playable. I mean, Jokic triple double in the win makes sense. The Wizards just are going to get destroyed here down low. I mean, Gafford will have 2 fouls in the first 3 minutes. Porzingis really doesn't want to bang there with Joker, so I think Porzingis threes though will be fun because he'll stretch and he'll try to pull him away from the basket, and Jokic is not quick at closing down the 3-point line. So I those are just a couple looks. I think Porzingis threes, but I do think Jokic dominates the game. There's no real elite defenders on this Washington team, so Caldwell Pope was just there. You've got I think he could probably hit that, some corner threes. Porter is so frustrating because he's so boom or bust with his effort. But again, if I don't know who's going to be guarding Porter. Who on the Wiz has the length? Advia maybe has to come in. If they start Kispert, my God, they're going to be undersized with Caldwell Pope and Porter out there, like on the wings, Beal and Kispert and stuff. It's going to be trouble. So.
Yeah, without Kuzma, they sacrifice a lot of that length and defense that they have.
Yep. Gordon could probably have a big game too. I don't know. There's a lot of decent looks, I think, in this game. It's just you wonder with the Wizards on the back to back, do they kind of run out of gas like we saw the Kings do last night?
Yep. No doubt about it. Let's see here. Knicks at Miami here. Heat laying 2. Heat trying to hold on to that division. They're on the fringe of the play and trying to catch the Nets. You can start here, Matt. Heat laying a bucket here.
This is a big one for Nick and I's Nets futures here.
I meant to ask you what numbers do you have, because that was a big talk that we talked about that.
We have 45.5 on the under, but we also have 4-1 on the Nets to make the play-in. So really, with
that looks good. That could definitely, that's a good price. We talked about yesterday at 250, and it's a little short now, but yeah, that's a good price you have there.
Yeah, the Hawks dropping that game to
the Spurs.
The Spurs when they were up 20 points or so, like that kind of put them out of it. The Heat are 2 behind Brooklyn in the loss column, so we kind of need this one. Where Cavs took care of business this week. We're hoping the Cavs take care of business again. They run that right back tomorrow night. And then big time is a must-win is that Miami and Brooklyn match on Saturday. But yeah, here I think the Knicks, they've been playing well, but I don't know. I think outside of I haven't fully committed to anything here. I lean the Knicks just slightly, but tough game. I think Miami needs this win more than the Knicks do, so that's why I guess I would lean that. I'm not going to mess with the side. I'm like I said, because I'm rooting for Miami. I'll just try to find a few player props that I think have some value. I know I wouldn't go back to Randall like that. I think he'll get a lot of Bam or Jimmy, and I don't think he has another obviously massive scoring
Yeah,
game. I
Julius
think
Randle. I almost wanted to take a 26.5 under, but
yeah.
last time he cooked him because he's one of those guys that he just
Mhm.
he can get if he gets half from three, you just can automatically just erase your bet and know if you take it the under, it's over. But the
I,
only guy I think in this game that is worth looking into is Tyler Hero if you like Payne. But his last four matchups against the Knicks, he kind of just dominates. I mean, you're talking 31, 34 last year, then 38 and 43 PRA in his last four games. And despite him being Tyler Hero and being a guy that can really, kind of mess up your slip, he is a guy that gets a lot of usage, and in this matchup, I would imagine he finds some good lanes. He should have a lot of threes, a lot of volume from there. So he's the one guy I have circled. But yeah, I'm with you with Matt. I don't like anything on the side. I think if you like real basketball, it's a fun game to watch. But
Mhm.
that's the one look I have.
I
Yep.
feel like this game could be 98 to 97. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
this could have a total just dogfight, old school kind of feel. Uh, the Knicks Heat were great in the 90s. You know those Zoe and Allen Houston kind of right. I mean those fun series, but obviously the uh, God, I want to go Brunson too. I don't know why. I 23 and a half, but again, I think this is pretty low. So I just don't love Hero or Vincent trying to guard Jalen Brunson, and they won't waste Jimmy Butler on him. So I think Brunson is my guy. I like.
Yep, it's
yeah.
a pass for me here. The next game, Warriors. Look, we know their story. They are terrible on the road. They're good at home. It's amazing. I don't think we've ever seen a disparity like this. Mavs, it's a pick 'em. Mavs are the home team. I would have to go Dallas here. I haven't bet it, but I might. Brian, what do you got here? Mavs and Warriors.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we have the slip here or not, but I did end up taking DraftKings same game parlay builder is a little off. I don't know if you ever noticed that. Sometimes they have stats that are a little off. They have Clay Thompson's over under is set at 21 and a half, and 22 is a key number for him. But if you go in the DraftKings builder, they have the 22 and a half at the minus 115 instead of 21 and a half. So I did take a bet where I took Clay Thompson under 22 and a half points, paired with Steph Curry 20 plus points at plus money. I don't usually do that quote unquote juice reducer thing, but whenever you have a same game parlay builder that's a little off, I like to kind of manipulate it a little bit to get the plus money. So Clay Thompson, it's no secret, he struggles on the road. I mean, he's under in 21 of 29 road games, and in both games against Dallas, he scored 5 and 14 points. This just seems like more of a Steph Curry game with Luka Doncic back. It could be a back and forth for them. And I just think Clay Thompson probably draws a lot of Josh Green. Josh Green, Jesus. Yeah, like I think he's just one of those guys where he gives tough fits, and I think it's more of a game for the down low people and the those at the rim, not the catch and shoot shooters.
Yeah, I'm with you, Will, on the side. Like, I won't take the Warriors on the road. This is obviously a marquee matchup that is, and it's I think it's the nationally televised first game for ESPN on their doubleheader. So I don't know. To me, it's a Luka triple double and the Mavs win kind of a game. He usually gets just a monster game. They don't, especially now without Wiggins. Like, who do they have to try to throw at him? I guess they'll throw Kaminga at him. They may try, Draymond every once in a while. Um, he's just a matchup nightmare for him. So I think Luka pretty well rested here too. So I mean, I guess you got to worry about his conditioning a little bit. He's never uh, one of those guys that you think is in great condition, but I think he's in contention for a nice explosion here. I might even screw around and mess with, like what Brian was saying. It could be Steph's kind of game too. Maybe a Steph and Luca ladder together, kind of in our Nick's not here right now, but this would be a play that Nick would probably like to roll, where you go 30-30, 35-35, 40-40. I mean, Luka's done it in back-to-back games against the Warriors, so I think he could do it again.
Yeah, the only thing in the chat is someone mentioned our thoughts on Christian Wood. I personally I don't have much thoughts on
Hate
Chris
him.
Wood. Yeah, it's a great matchup for him, but yeah, him and Dwight Powell, that whole minute their minutes are so strange at times. I personally have no thoughts on him, but I just wanted to see that I just want to point that out that I sadly don't have any thoughts on that. I just kind of avoid that rotation with two big men down in Dallas.
Well, and it's it's a weird one too because Looney. I don't think you can have Wood in there if Looney's in there. Like, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like they would shift and they would probably throw Powell in there, or even throw Maxi Kleba in there. If they go Draymond, maybe they go Wood because he's a little more athletic and can run around. I The chess match between Kerr and Jason Kidd is tough, and you can't really trust either one of these coaches with some of these guys. Like, yeah, you could trust the backcourts. I think the minutes there are solid. How they do the front courts is not a guessing game that I want to dive into.
Yeah, I agree there.
All right. Goldboys Live, Picket Sports, Boom Fantasy. Check them out. Let's try to go a little quicker because we still got 7 games to get through. I'm fine skipping Raptors Pacers unless you guys have anything urgent you want to add.
I do not. I don't have anything for that game or the Spurs game, honestly.
I got one or two quick notes on that. So Halliburton is supposed to be back. That helps the Pacers, obviously. It may push Toronto's pace a little bit too.
Raptors laying 9. I should mention total 234.
Yeah. If Halliburton's back, I would be tempted to take the Pacers in the points here. But yeah, I mean, it's another good spot for Freddie VanVleet to hunt a double-double. I think his assists against the Pacers team that want to push and get the pace up should be there. So, yeah, if they're both playing, I might target a Halliburton double-double and a Freddie VanVleet double-double, kind of fool around with that a little bit. But
I like
again,
that.
wait and see.
All right. Sixers Bulls. Sixers with a terrible loss on Monday night to the Bulls. Little bounce back spot. They're laying 3.5 in Chicago. I would lean towards the Sixers. You figure they're motivated. Think a little pissed off after letting that game get away. They've been so good post All-Star break. I would look towards laying the Sixers. Brian, this is your squad. What are your thoughts here? Sixers laying a field goal, 3.5 here.
I reluctantly lean the Sixers here. I do not think James Harden plays, but if you watch that game against the Bulls last time, it probably helps us. He looked like garbage. Like I'm not even hating on James Harden, who's been playing very well, but he looked terrible. And the one look I would point out is that if he is out, I mean, you could take the risk of Embiid's 4.5 assist line. It's plus 120. When he's out, whenever Harden doesn't play the last 10 games, Embiid has 6 or more assists in 9 of those last 10 games. The only worry you run there is that Vucevic probably isn't going to stop him in the paint, no matter who's out there. But the two guys I'd look for is his assist or Tyrese Maxey's PRA if he's rolled out, because just two guys that can run the floor really well when Harden's out, and they kind of take a lot of that usage.
Yeah, so it sounds like we're running an Embiid triple-double if Harden is out.
I think, yeah. I mean, the fact that so, Will, would you agree? 3.5 line. They're probably assuming that he's not going to be in.
Personally, I like it because
yeah,
let Embiid do his best Joker impression. You know, he doesn't get the credit for being as good of a passer as he is. I think Maxey's tough because is Caruso in or out? I think he might be out, right?
He's supposed to play, but honestly, I used to factor in Caruso a lot more. But this year, he's not been the same defensive. He's not been the same defensive presence as I'm used to avoiding.
Yeah, I mean, but with the Bulls, like they got those good defensive perimeter guys. You know, bringing Pat Bev in, that helps. Io is a pretty good defender, especially for being so young. His length and athleticism gives guards a lot of trouble. I mean, obviously Maxey's biggest advantage is his speed. But I think Harden out, you bring in Melton to that starting lineup. He's a better 3-point shooter than Harden at this point. And so this game again was played at such a slow pace.
Double overtime, and it stayed under, I believe.
Yeah, double overtime.
And there was a boost on I forget what book. Superbook had a boost for the over.
Oh,
and everyone was complaining about it. They had the over 225.5 boosted.
It's going to be another slugfest, old school Eastern Conference kind of a style, I think. And to me, I would target some of those Philly 3-point shooters. Like I mentioned, Melton already. I think if Bang Niang is getting an extra burn, he's a good 2 threes is probably plus money. I haven't even seen if they've dropped it yet.
Yeah.
Tobias Harris is probably another guy that should get some nice looks.
And there's no lines. The only lines right now is for Embiid. To kind of like tie it up too is that
And I
like
don't see a triple double anywhere on DraftKings at least. Do these
I think it's just points bet and FanDuel right now.
Okay.
My biggest thing is like to wrap up this game is that I want to take Joel Embiid's assist because I don't think Harden's playing. But if he does end up playing, it's one of those games where it's such a plus matchup in the paint where if Harden does play, I feel like you don't even have hope for it, if that makes sense. Like if he does play, it's like, okay, there's no way Joel's passing the barbecue chicken down low with Vucevic. So it's one of those catch-22s where you really have to trust your read.
What's his floor on points, do you think, Brian? 25?
At this point, he's scoring 10 straight with 30. If he doesn't score 30, you almost feel like he's sick or something. So I would say 27 is probably his floor.
Probably his floor. And did you have numbers on his triple double?
I'm not seeing anything.
I think it's 2,900 on points bet is the best.
2,900. Okay, because his assists, 10 assists is plus 2,200 in the DraftKings same game parlay thing. So you can kind of mess around. That might be something to pair with. I did it with the 10 rebounds, and that's 25 to 1. I probably wouldn't even throw points in there just because it'd be kind of gross. But 5 assists at plus 105 is nice, and then the 8 750. There's a potential for maybe the latter of the assists versus going all the way to the triple double. But
yeah,
I mean, we saw what did he have? I mean,
he had 7 and 3/4 against the Pacers. Yeah, I think it's one of those things where you gotta really trust the Harden's out, and then even then, you mean it's a matter of he's got such a plus matchup where you just gotta hope he's willing to pass.
I think so. We're parlaying Jokic triple double in the win and Embiid triple double in the win, and
find a third.
Yeah, let's get a nuke cooked up.
Yeah,
not a bad idea. Absolutely not a bad idea. Let's see here. Next game. This is another one we can just skip right over unless you guys have anything urgent. Grizzlies laying 12.5 against the god awful Rockets. I don't know if you can ever go badly, playing a team total over against the Rockets opponent. Other than that, I don't really have a lot of thoughts. Brian,
my only heat is that John Morant's still like weirdly questionable off bench, maybe playing. I just think it's one of those games where if he is in, don't even try to touch it. Like, it's okay not to bet a game, and that's just a game where he has who knows what that dynamic will look like. So yeah, I'm okay skipping over that.
Yeah, the Rockets again are one of those teams too that they're so prone to turning the ball over, and Memphis is such a good defensive and active team. Like this could get out of hand and really ugly. So especially if Ja plays, like they could. This would be a Ja triple double game if he came back in. I wouldn't screw around with that. Another guy, I'm just all the wheels are turning now, so forgive me. I'm gonna bounce around. Giannis triple double in the win against the Spurs. He doesn't need to go get you 40 points tonight. He may turn into triple double mode too. So, but yeah, Grizzlies they'll destroy him tonight. Triple J's been on a tear. There's nobody that he has to match up with that would really get him in any sort of foul trouble. So I'm sure he's good for another 20-point night. Couple blocks, kind of a little same game parlay there. You got 2 blocks and a 20-point game might get you into some nice plus money.
Spurs and Bucks. Spurs are getting 18. This has to be the highest line I can remember seeing all year in the NBA. Plus 1,100 on the money line. I mean, are we sure Giannis is playing? Are the Spurs worth a stab at 11 to 1 on the money line? I'd like a little more, but I don't know. We can spend a little a quick time on this one, Brian. Do you have anything?
I think the only value is laying the minus 2,000 on the Bucks money line.
2,100 at DraftKings.
Yeah, I this is just a game. The only point I'd say is I kind of gave a look to Chris Middleton under 18.5 points only because if this game does turn into the blowout that you think, his minutes have been so restricted with his injury management. But I don't like the bet that way because I hate betting the NBA on the assumption that a team blows somebody out because you never know what's going to happen. So I feel like if the cap's not there in terms of the defense he's facing, it's really tough to kind of back it saying, oh, but they'll be up by 30 because you never really know.
Yeah. Like I said, I think they can kind of toy with them a little bit. I just don't know. if the Spurs would have enough. Like even if full strength Spurs gets thrown out there tonight, they probably get blown out. And who in the rotational pieces of the Bucks do you want to go at? You know what I mean? Like it's tough. It's very confusing. Brooke Lopez, let me just mention, this guy's points have been free for the last 2 weeks. Like I think he's gone over. They finally moved him up, I think, to 16 and a half. It had been at like 14 and a half and 15 and a half. And this dude he's getting 20 and 25-point games like consistently. Benefiting from Giannis's willingness to pass as well. His 3-point shooting is always a nice wild card. I think we could see Brooke Lopez clip his 16 and a half pretty comfortably. I don't care who the Spurs have. There's just not a good matchup for him. And they're going to be more worried about Giannis. So I think Brooke Lopez points is a good look.
Yep, I could see that. Timberwolves, Hawks, a lot of these two teams have a lot in common. Both gave up a ton last summer in terms of draft equity, both kind of going nowhere fast, just sort of on the fringes of the play-in. Timberwolves laying 4.5, total 241.5. Matt, you have anything on this one?
No, nothing on it right now. I just, you would think the Timberwolves will be able to handle business. I heard that Cat is back tonight.
He is playing. That was
that
was my only tidbit, is that this and the Grizzlies games are just two games where it sounds like I'm being a wimp. But if there's major injury news like that, I'd rather just stay away, collect data, and move on.
I think with the Wolves, like we saw them play the Knicks tough, and they still won a game when Randall scored 7 points, I think.
Yeah.
The Hawks are a mess. I don't really need. I mean, the Hawks can beat up some bad teams from time to time, and in the right matchup, they can look good against a good team. But like, yeah, I just don't see them having success here on the road. And is Murray in or out for this?
Nothing definitive.
Nothing's in. Yeah, I would imagine he's playing. It was illness, so I would think he's in, but you never know.
It could be a good game for 3-pointers, especially if Ant plays too. Like, he's going to shoot his 7 to 10 threes. We saw a ton of threes. They gave up a ton of threes, obviously, to Randall and the Knicks. The Hawks have a ton of willing 3-point shooters. Somebody will probably hit a stupid threes parlay in this game because there are so many good 3-point shooters.
And his name is JD. So
yeah, right. Whatever. If JD puts out a threes parlay for this, you got to tail it. Just calling it now, but I don't know. I mean, Kyle Anderson's been a fun player to bet. Pretty consistent. You can grab his like 4 assists as a great parlay piece with anything. That's kind of his floor right now. I don't know. Do we get Prince props again? What do you have? 8 threes last time?
It was a lot. Yeah. I couldn't count on my hands.
He hit I think he was 8 for 8 from 3. Like he hit all of them and had like a 35-point night. So I don't know. Well, I guess we have to wait and see, like you said.
2 games left to get to. Goldboys Live, Pickett Sports, Boom Fantasy. Jazz laying 5.5 to Portland. That tells you Dame is out. Is Dame out for this game? Boy,
he's not. He's listed for all books. 36.5 points line.
Seems high, doesn't it? Every time you think the Jazz are going to tank, they win a game like they did against Boston or the Kings. They've actually played okay here. I'm surprised it's 5.5. If Dame were in, I'd actually take the 5.5.
I think Markkanen might play. He was listed. I think he got upgraded to questionable. So I think
seems awful high either way. What are your thoughts here, Brian?
Honestly, yeah, this is one of those games where you see a 36.5 point line and you want to say, okay, I lean the under, but Damian Lillard's fully capable of doing that, especially against a team that's so bad on the outside. This is another one of those games you mentioned yesterday. There's 238 in the Celtics game yesterday. I thought it was a little high, and then actually I'm going over. This is another game where the over-under is 234.5, and as high as that seems, it might be a good look to look at the over, just because these two teams might just get into one of those bags where it's just trading off points the entire time.
Yeah, with Portland, like I'm looking at their potential lineup. No Simons, no Grant, no Little, no Winslow. They've got a lot of injuries on their wing, and I wonder where is it going to come from? Like Cam Reddish to me is a guy that I don't like betting. I don't like to get behind. I understand some people like his talent, but I can't trust it. Thibault's found a 3-point shot now that he's out there a little bit. I mean,
Sixers legend.
Yeah, I'm tempted to say, take him for a 3 or 2. I go. Markkanen's in. I think he'd have a pretty great game. I don't really see any bodies that they can throw at him to give him too much trouble. Kessler and Nurkic, that should be a fun battle down low for rebounds. Yeah, I mean, I got to give a tip or a tip of the cap to Kessler, man. He's come on so good. In that matchup against the Kings, like he had Sabonis in jail, dude. And it was crazy. Like you see how the certain matchups and styles make fights. Like Sabonis had a triple-double at halftime against the Celtics and on a back-to-back after going to war with Kessler. Kessler just, I think he could protect the rim nicely, and I think the Jazz probably get this done. I would be tempted to lay the points here, honestly.
Yeah, I agree there. I think
I'm
it's
opposite. I think the 5.5 is high. Again, I've been in and out with college basketball. I've been in and out, but that's just one where I look at it, I'm like, oh, Dame must be sitting games in. It's 5.5. I don't know. Utah's always tough at home, but that's one that just jumps off the page to me that looks a little off. Maybe sometimes when it looks a little off, there's a reason it's that high. But that's one. Maybe I'll end up betting Portland here, but. The final game of the night, an interesting one. Brian, I would really appreciate it if the Lakers could beat the Suns so we could just sort of exhale here with our Kings division bets. They're making it a little too interesting. We're still up like 4 games with 10 to play, but we'd like to just put the final nail in the coffin, drive
and
the
we're
stake
trusting
through
the
heart.
Lakers, Will. Okay, I see where we're coming from.
You don't want to get this to 4, then the Suns and the Kings play each other on Friday. If they win that, it's 3. We're still in good shape, but I'd like to just put this away. I'd actually lean towards the Lakers in this game. What are your thoughts here, Bryce? Suns and the Lakers. Suns laying a point.
Yeah, I mean, we're biased with our futures. Suns are still minus 2,500 for that division, so I'm not
Kings
super
are.
worried. I mean, sorry, the Kings. Sorry, I always do that where I dictate where I'm looking at the spread and I talk. But yeah, bias aside, this is, I mean, no KD, no Ayton for the Suns, and I do think that's a big thing in this game because if you're gonna beat the Lakers, a lot of times you want to beat them in that mid range / at the rim, and when you're trusting Bismack Biyombo to give you the same kind of offensive production as a guy like Ayton down low, it's never a good ask. So you need to put up points to beat the Lakers, and right now you're banking on just Devin Booker to do that with this rotation in this game. So I would lean the Lakers, especially at home, but it will be an interesting game that I'm actually kind of happy by that point. All the other games will be kind of over. I think that should be a fun game to watch.
Question. So why is 80's points only 25.5?
It's weird. I mean,
is it a trap?
I don't like to believe in trap lines, but yeah, I mean, Bismack Biyombo is. I mean, I try not to hate on players actively unless your name's Kelly Oubre, but I mean, people make the joke with Nikola Jokic being a traffic cone. Bismack Biyombo on defense is a traffic cone that will also foul you. It's a very weird combination. I just don't see Anthony Davis having any trouble with him, but I guess you have to worry about Anthony Davis's motivation. That's really what it is. If he wants to score 30, he could. If he wants to loaf around, he can do that as well.
It's tough. It's funny that this is it's like Ayton with his rebounds. Like when he wants to, he'll grab you 15, no problem, and make it look easy. But it's the 25 now. It's screaming trap line with no 8. Like
if anything,
I went to look to see if they're playing tomorrow. Maybe they'll actually play him second night of a back-to-back, and the rest, and they don't play again until Friday. Yeah. I don't know.
They got to play through him, and he'll carry him. To me, this is an Anthony Davis 35 and 18 kind of a night, and they take care of business. The Suns
maybe even look at Biyombo's under 6.5 points. I mean, maybe he gets into deep foul trouble and they go to Landale quickly. Who knows? I just don't think Anthony Davis has any trouble getting him out of the game and getting his buckets.
Right. Like, and who else behind that? Like, do they have body wise? Like that big kid with the tattoos on his shoulder. They always talk. He played football. What's his Washington or something? Like every announcer loves to say this guy played football, and but yeah, I mean Davis should kill this team. And the Suns, I mean, yeah, like you mentioned, Booker points.
32 and a half I saw. That's what I mean. There's some times where you can like you can like a player, you can like a line. Me and Will talk about all the time. You can like a line, or you can like someone to score, but you don't have to like the line. And I like Booker to score a lot of points, but I hate a 32 and a half line for him.
That was poetic. I think that was my yearbook quote. That was
Yeah.
nice.
My yearbook quote was, "It's tough to be a single mother when you're a guy without a kid." So that was mine.
I don't even remember what mine would have been. I don't think I submitted one. I was probably
I don't think I did either.
Right.
Yeah. That's that we'll end it here. That's a Stephen Wright line where he says he wishes his first word was quote, so his final words can be end quote.
I asked Brian this yesterday. I think we both said the Suns. Matt, you've been adamant Clippers. I'll give you a reprieve now. One word answer. Who comes out of the West?
There's so many factors. See, that's what I did, because if KD's in,
there's no ifs or anything. I'll give you
I know.
Here's the information. You have the information that we all have. That's it.
I have today's information.
Yep, that's all you got.
I will say the Suns.
Yep, I'm with you. That's what we all said.
Yep,
don't feel great about it, but
no, yeah, you don't have a ton of confidence. CP3 is a million years old. If they run up against a team that with an athletic point guard like Ja, they're in trouble.
I can't remember the West being a mess like this. The West is always sort of the varsity conference, and it'd be really
and now the East is like the Monstars. It's like the East is insane.
Give me the Bucks, and I'm happy. I think I'm cashing a Bucks future right now. Like
I did see. I forget. It was one of my skins. It was -120. You could bet the East or the West to win the title, which I thought was interesting.
Bucks and Celtics basically versus whoever comes out.
Right. Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good bet.
I agree. I'll shop around, try to find that if that's any of these.
And they gave you the juice so bad there, because realistically, any team in the West and the East is gonna be so favored. You could even like almost arb that when it comes down to it if they gave you any better juice.
And have home court too. What if it's Nuggets? I think the Nuggets falling off here will cost them home court in the finals if they get there. I don't know. That looks like.
Well, yeah. What would you make a series like? Bucks versus Suns. What do you think that series?
Bucks are home. Bucks are
-140.
Would you go minus? I'm gonna go -160. I think
I was gonna say 180, but 180 is way too high, because if the Suns get there, that means Durant's healthy and they're clicking. And if they're clicking, it's close. I think it's close enough where Bucks are slightly better. You give a few cents, more than a few cents for home court. So yeah, probably Bucks -150, I would think.
Yeah.
You had to price and write me there with the 10 cents juice, because that's it.
The thing is, if the Suns get there, it's going to be like, holy shit, look at the Suns. It's Durant. It's actually working.
Honestly, if the Suns get there, I have a Suns future from like way before the season. If they get there, I would almost buy into the other team, because for that exact reason that they might get the excitement line, not the real line.
Right.
Yeah. They would be hyped and a little blown up. And I just the Bucks, we still haven't seen. Maybe we saw it one game. I think there was one game where Middleton got his full burn and scored like 28 points, and you're like, oh yeah, Chris Middleton is like a top 5 mid-range player in the league, and like shoots like 90% from the free throw line, and they are too good, and they have like guys for whatever matchup comes their way. Like, okay, Jay Crowder, like, come on in. If we need to go small, we'll go you. If we need to go big, we got Bobby Portis. We got shooters all around with Connaughton and Grayson Allen, and they are just, no matter who they face, they're set up. And Holiday being such a good two-way player, you give me a healthy Bucks against the field, I'm happy.
I agree. I just think that the Suns getting there means we've seen the best version of the Suns, and the best version of the Suns might be as good as anybody. Now, there's a chance where they get knocked out in the first round, they get a bad draw, Durant's hurt. I mean, there's so many ways for it to go wrong, but like the upside of the Suns is interesting. But we got plenty of time to talk about this in the next coming weeks. Matt, Brian, this was fun. Boom Fantasy, Pick It Sports. Enjoy the games. Good luck with all your plays, and we'll see you guys next time.